Good evening and welcome to the agenda combined meeting 5 p.m. November 2nd, 2022. Roll call, please.
Ms. Acosta,
Here.
Ms. Fabry,
Here.
Mr. Fiocchi, Mr. Holmes, here. Mr. Rivera,
Here.
Mr. Sabrana,
Present.
Mr. Silva,
Here.
Mrs. Cottaspati,
Present.
Ms. Spinelli.
Here. In compliance with the New Jersey Open Public Meeting Law, commonly referred to as the Sunshine Law, the Vineland Board of Education has caused notice and posting of this meeting to be sent to the following: announcing time, place, agenda, etc. The Daily Journal, S&J Today, the Press of Atlantic City, Nuestra Comunidad, Visto Bueno, and the Clerk for the City of Vineland, and the Administrative Office Public Bulletin Board. At this time, we will have our flag saluters. The Vineland High School Air Force Junior ROTC Color Guard will present the colors. The Sergeant Dominic Pilla Middle School students will come up and lead us in the flag salute. At this time, we'll stand for the flag salute. Okay, Pilla students, don't go anywhere. We have Mr. Rivera and Mr. Silva coming down with some certificates for this evening. And if the junior ROTC could come back, we also have some certificates for you as well. Thank you to our PILA flag saluters. And now Mr. Fiocchi will come down and give some certificates with Mr. Silva and Mr. Rivera for our junior ROTC. Congratulations and thank you for your service. Moving along, Scott, do we have a resolution for executive session this evening?
We do. Now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Education of the City of Vineland School District will convene an executive session for the following reasons as outlined in NJSA 10:4-12. Discussion of any collective bargaining agreement and any matters falling within the attorney-client privilege to the extent that the confidentiality is required in order for the attorney to exercise his or her ethical duties as a lawyer.
We are going to go into our executive session after we do the HIB report, but do I have a
Madam
motion?
President? Yep, there you go.
So moved. Second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Ms. Acosta?
Yes.
Ms. Fabry?
Yes.
Mr. Fiocchi?
Yes.
Mr. Holmes?
Yes.
Mr. Rivera?
Yes.
Mr. Sabrana?
Yes.
Mr. Silva?
Yes.
Mrs. Codispoti? Yes. Ms. Spinelli?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Mr. Yano, do we have any special presentations this evening?
Yes, we do. We have a few, so I will make my way down to the podium, and I will start there. Afterwards, we'll have Ms. Dina Rodolfo and then Mr. Fry join us. So in a few moments, we'll have to bring down the projector. But for the first two, I'll go to the podium. President and Vice President, you're going to join me on the first one, please. Good evening. Today we are honoring district veterans to thank them for serving our country and serving the families of Vineland. Thank you for your continued dedication and your service. We have a certificate and a token of appreciation, so we would like to I'll call your name, and if you could come up, and our Vice President and President of the Board of Education will greet you. And we have one more, I believe. Mr. Joseph Camardo, please come on. We all know Mr. Camardo, principal of Barcy School. 20 years of service to the New Jersey Air Guard. James Eubanks, Air Force, 21 years of service. Thank you, sir. He's in Eubanks. There we go. Thank you. George Dimitriou, teacher, served in the Navy 4 years. Next, we have Samuel Hunter. He works with us in our warehouse, kitchen, served in the Army 8 years. Thank you. Next, we have Jillian Simmons, works with our Wallace School, served in the Army, 6 years.
Congratulations. Thank you.
And next we have Robert DeSanto, Board Solicitor. Thank you for your service, sir. Come on down. Did anyone else come in that we have not announced yet? We want to make sure, okay, we checked off. We were very careful with our list. So a big thank you to our veterans for being here today. We're going to take a quick picture. For our second presentation, I wanted to take a moment to recognize the Vineland High School class officers. This wonderful group of young adults has been instrumental in helping us work through all of the challenges that we see at our high school and all the opportunities and all the great events that we've prepared for our children. They work very closely with Principal DeMarchi, Assistant Principal Rivera, who are here in support tonight. So thank you for coming out. And I'm going to make a few announcements. We're going to announce who's here with us this evening. Tonight we have Senior Class President Kamira Holmes. Please stand up just to be recognized. She will be addressing, she's our board representative, so she'll be addressing us a little bit later on in our agenda. Next we have our Vice President, Aaliyah Williams. Historian Samantha Ruiz. Samantha has to get to work, so she needs us to keep this moving, right? So thank you, Samantha, for making it out tonight. For our junior class officers, we have Talia Duncan, President. For our freshman class, we have Ariana Harold, the historian. All right. For our SGA President, Egypt Owens, Senior. Our Air Force cadets are eating right now, so we saw them a few moments ago. We'll announce them later on. For our cadet squad, let's see. Freshman class. Yes, Juan Rodriguez made it this evening. All right, he's the class treasurer. Thank you for joining us. Oh, I see Mom back there. That's it. Hey. We have, let's see, do we have our cadet squad in here yet? Or they're eating as well? They're hungry. We don't want to get in the way of their food, so we will announce their names a little bit later. These are our wonderful class officers. So can you all please stand one more time? Stay. No, don't say yeah. Don't yes. No. They represent the best that we have to offer at Vineland High School. They're all involved in different programs, athletics, equipment managers. You know, they represent their student body. They work jobs. They are doing 20 hours plus of work a week. They are doing exceptional work for our families, for our kids. So I encourage our board members, you know, if you ever want to know what's going on, you can speak to one of our class officers. You'll hear from one of them in a moment. So again, thank you so much, and thank you for your service to our school. At this time, Ms. Rodolfo, she sat so far in the back. No, you have to come up. She'll be presenting the 2021-2022 assessment results. We're going to bring down the screen, so if you're in the middle, you need to slide over.
No, it's over there. She's got it set up for me. It's not airing. It's not airing. It's not airing for some reason. It says it's picking it up. Let me see if I can plug it into right there. She might have to unwire it, I guess.
We're just taking a moment to get it connected. It's a little technical glitch. Just give us a minute. And 1 year we had an issue with the thing not coming down. Well, The presentation is linked on our agenda, so Supervisor Rodolfo will go through the presentation, and if our board members could follow along on their laptop. It was working a few minutes ago, but doesn't seem to be connecting. If we get it connected, we'll continue going, but we don't want to delay the event. All right? So go ahead.
okay. So this will be posted on our district's, let me start over again. My name is Dina Rodolfo. I am the supervisor of guidance, testing, and our homeless population for the Vineland School District. We are required to present our assessment data for the district every year. So I will be presenting what our test scores were for the 2021-2022 school year. So the data that will be, and I am certainly not by any means going to go over each slide. It's a very lengthy document, and I've also linked at the end of the presentation the full longitudinal data, which is 70+ pages long, which I am not going to discuss in length either. You'll have the opportunity to look at it if you choose to. So what we're going to be going over really briefly today is our NJSLA data for ELA, math, and science, our NJGPA data, which is the new assessment that was created for the 11th grade students last year, which actually they waived that for this year, so we are not even using those test scores for last year. They're using it as a field test. There is no assessment for this year that they're using. We are going over the DLM scores, which our DLM is for our significant cognitive, students with significant cognitive disabilities, and also our access scores. Our access scores are for our students who are receiving ELL services, whether bilingual or ESL. Makes it difficult when it's not up there. So there's a brief slide that basically explains our population and our demographics. And what I included on the fourth slide was essentially for ELA and for math, it includes what percentage of our students scored in which area, level 1, level 2, level 3, and level 4, with level and level 5. Level 4 and level 5 are actually where we want to be. That's where we are at where we need to be or above where we need to be. Also included, still working on it? Also included in there is a longitudinal graph of where we were in 2015 to where we are now. We have not tested NJSLA since the 2018-2019 school year, which is when a lot of our students went remotely and stayed remote for a whole full school year. So it was about a full year and about a marking period and a half that students were receiving virtual instruction at home, which was not ideal. And from looking at our test scores, there was definite dip between when we tested prior to COVID and then after COVID. So what we are working on right now is trying to move ourselves back, close that gap. I also included the math percentages, which essentially show where our students are performing and on what level. I included our science scores in there as well, and that is on slide 8. So, makes it hard when you guys don't see it. I've also included in each, for each grade level, where the schools scored individually. So individually I have the elementary schools in there, the middle schools, and the high schools so that you can see where those schools scored in comparison to the state scores. Okay. We also have to break it down for you guys with respect to subgroups. So we've included, I've included in there a breakdown of how our students scored by race, by program, if they were ELL, if they were special ed, if they were in some type of different programming. That is also in there. I've included our district's NJGPA scores, but as I said, the state has decided that we are not using those scores. They are using last year as a field test, and so those scores really aren't for anything. We will be testing NJGPA again this year in March, and those will be for our 11th graders. For our 11th graders now, for their, they'll need that to pass that assessment for next year. Towards the end, I've included our access scores. What that will show you is essentially how many tested at each grade level and the percentage of those students that from last year that met proficiency or met growth expectations for our access students. And the one thing I like to point out with our access students regarding whether they met their proficiency or met their growth expectation, we have a lot of students that transfer in and out. We have a lot of students that come from out of the country, very new to the language. So when you're looking at that growth expectation there, some of those students may only have been here for a month or two, or maybe 3 months or 4 months, and they, so they're, that may have affected, them meeting their growth expectation. The DLM scores are also a part of the last test score slide on there, and those basically just outline where our severe cognitive students fall. These are the students that are not able to take the NJSLA. The next steps, so essentially at this point with the test scores, our teachers, our students took Start Strong this year again. It was mandatory again this year, yay. So they took that in the beginning of the school year. The one thing that we were able to do this year was that the teachers had immediate access to those test scores. So we were able to, as soon as the students submitted the buttons, submitted their answers, the teachers were able to get their test scores. So the teachers are able to look at you know, the different strands, the different standards, what their classroom needed to work on, what individual students needed to work on. We will be getting the full summative file sometime in December, so I couldn't include that in here. We only have preliminary data right now. Moving forward, we're going to continue to identify areas of strengths and weaknesses for classrooms and individual students based on our NJSLA scores and based on those Start Strong early reports from this year. We're going to formulate interventions to assist the whole classroom. We're going to continue to utilize our ESSER funds to reduce that achievement gap. We have foundations, we have reading and math specialists, principal training, ELA math learning and enrichment programs. We have the SEL programs at the elementary schools this year as well. It was middle school last year, now we have it in both. New elementary reading programs, and we have our developmental teachers. And the last slide on there is the link to the very lengthy document regarding all of this data in very long form. So if you have some spare time, you can feel free to link in there, go in there and look at the data in more detail. And if you have any questions, you can reach out. I apologize. It would have been helpful if you guys could have seen it, but I can share it with anybody who needs it if they need it. And it will be posted on our website. That's it. Any questions? No? No? Okay, Gia, don't worry about it. It's all good. All right, thank you.
So, Ms. Spinelli, I don't know if any of our board members have any questions for Ms. Rodolfo based on that. We will come back at a future board meeting to represent this when the equipment is working, because you need to see some of it's super important data, longitudinal data from 2018-19 up to the last time we took the NJSLA. And there's a lot of really important information there that speaks to our student achievement numbers, so we need to come back to that, but we need to also present it tonight. It is linked on the agenda, it's live, it's available for you. Thank you, Ms. Rodolfo, for plowing through that and getting through it. I appreciate you. At this time, we're going to have the similar scenario. Mr. Fry is going to talk about. Let's just do it. Yes. Go ahead. I'm sorry. All right, no problem.
Hello, everyone. Good evening. So I'm Nathan Fry. I'm the Assistant Superintendent for Curriculum Instruction, and I'm going to try to follow Dina's lead there and do as good a job as I can. So without projection, it's difficult. So really what my job tonight is to try to explain a little bit, real brief, what QSAC is. So New Jersey QSAC is the Quality Single Accountability Continuum. Right? This is a document the district is required to work on with the state to really provide to ensure the quality delivery of instruction throughout the district. So I want to try to tell you what is QSAC, the process we go through, and what our next steps are. So it was created to ensure districts are providing a thorough and efficient education. It contains 5 parts: the instruction and program part, the governance, the fiscal, operations, and personnel. As you go through the process, there's 2 components. The state provides us some data directly to us. They provide us information like, what are your math and language arts NJSLA scores? The New Jersey assessment scores, they give it to us. And they say, since your scores are X, we're going to give you so many points for that in this document called QSAC. Other things, did you submit your New Jersey NJ SMART document on time with no errors? If you did, you get points. The state gives us those points directly on the rubric. Then it's up to us to come together and develop artifacts to prove to the state that we're doing all the other nuances of what they're requiring. For example, in governance, are we developing our policies correctly? Are our policies reflective of what we need to do? In fiscal, are we maintaining our monthly reports? Every month we come to the board meetings, we do our monthly reports. Do we record that in our minutes, and we can show an artifact that we have those things? In operations, are we providing transportation to those students who require transportation based on our statute and our policies? In personnel, are we tracking all our staff information securely and in the appropriate places? And in instruction and program, an example would be, are we offering multi-tiered support structures to all students in the school? So each of these areas, we have to provide artifacts to the state of New Jersey. Then what happens is we get together with our local committee, we review all the documents we have, we submit our scores to the state of New Jersey, to our county office. They'll go through a review process, take a look at our artifacts that we provide to them, and they'll say, hey, we need to meet with you, and we need more information on this indicator or that indicator. And eventually we go through this process, the state's happy, we're happy, and we get our scores and report them back out to the Board of Education. So that's New Jersey QSAC from a school perspective and what it's really for. Any questions without a presentation to look at? Might be a little more challenging, but it's also linked on the agenda. You'll get a chance to look at it, and you can go through. There's also a link on there for more information right from the state of New Jersey, and our document, our rubrics on there as well. And thank you very much. Thank you.
Moving along, thank you for our presentations. On to our HIB report. Any questions or comments on the HIB? Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Ms. Acosta?
Yes.
Ms. Fabry?
Yes.
Mr. Fiocchi?
Yes.
Mr. Holmes?
Yes.
Mr. Rivera?
Yes.
Mr. Sobrano?
Yes.
Mr. Silva?
Yes.
Mrs. Codispoti?
Yes.
Ms. Spinelli?
Yes.
Motion carries.
At this time, we will enter into our executive session, and we will be back shortly. Back in session. Moving along to item number 6, approval of the minutes. October 5th, 2022, combined meeting. October 5th, 2022, executive session. August 3rd, 2022, executive session number 1, amended minutes. Do I have a motion?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Ms. Acosta? Ms. Fabry?
Yes.
Mr. Fiocchi?
Yes.
Mr. Holmes?
Yes.
Mr. Rivera?
Yes.
Mr. Sabrana?
Yes.
Mr. Silva?
Yes.
Ms. Codispoti?
Yes.
Ms. Spinelli?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Moving on, committee reports. Do we have any committee reports this evening? Starting with Mr. Fiocchi.
Finance Committee met October 31st, 8 a.m. via Google Meet. In attendance was Mr. Mustarell, Mr. Rivera, Mr. Silva, Ms. Spinelli, and myself. The following topics were discussed. Health benefits for fiscal year 23-24. The following upcoming bids and purchases: food service equipment, wireless radio, bus leases, and the Winslow HVAC Phase 2 bid was denied due to it being over our budgeted amount. Next, 21-22 ESS analysis. Alice Navigate 360, which is a new program for school security. And then the following negotiation updates for VASA and school psychologists. That's it.
Mr. Rivera?
Yeah, I'd like to correct one of my votes. For number 6, approval of minutes, August 3rd, 2022, I would like to correct that to abstain. Please, thank you.
I also had to abstain from the August 3rd board meeting. Thank you, Mr. Rivera. And it wasn't-
Thank you. Any other committee reports this evening?
Yes. Transportation Committee met on Monday, October 31st via Google Meet. Present were Mr. Mustarell, Mr. Yano, myself, Ms. Fabry, Mr. Rivera, Ms. Spinelli, Mr. Hall, Ms. Dana Blakely, and Ms. Abigail Camara. Defensive driver biannual, team concept, school activity bus routes, emergency plans, bus evacuations have been scheduled, stop finder being rolled out at Durand and Delago, student finder cards, wayfinder, and bus driver attendance were all discussed. Policy and Personnel Committee met in person on the 26th of this month in Mr. Yano's conference room. In attendance were myself, Ms. Spinelli, Mr. Fiocchi, Mr. Sabrana, Dr. Sneathan, and Dr. Rossi. Policy and regulations discussed were bed bugs, professional staff attendance review, and important improvement plan. Policy 3270, professional responsibilities. Policy 3432, sick leave, attendance protocol, dress and grooming for support staff, dress and grooming for teaching staff. Personnel searches discussed were acting security supervisor, senior diesel mechanic, assistant BA, and community parent involvement specialist.
Any other committee reports this evening? Ms. Acosta?
Thank you. On October 17th, 2022, the Curriculum, Instruction, and Technology Committee met. Present were Mr. Nathan Fry, Ms. Kim Codispoti, Mr. Alex Silva, and Ms. Megan Spinelli, and myself. We discussed several grants that we're hoping to submit. Also discussed was the November 8th, 2022 In-Service Day and all the wonderful things that are coming that day. Also discussed was the CTE visit by Mr. Fry along with other members of the district to Pennsauken High School to kind of get a feel for their CTE programs. And apparently that was very helpful, and there were some fruitful discussions. Finally, we discussed a CTE update with respect to the construction trades and the agricultural trades. And I was extremely happy to hear, well, we have Our construction trades program is up and going. It's going very well. The agricultural program is really doing wonderful things. It's expanded very, very quickly. I don't know, Nate, do you know the numbers? Right. So there's definitely an interest, and I think it's a great field for students, and, you know, we have it here. So thank you.
Any other?
No, I just wanted to say I was in that curriculum meeting, and when you were explaining the numbers, tell the people, Mr. Fry, how they jumped.
This year, both construction trades as well as agriculture education has jumped. Since school started, the agriculture numbers have actually doubled for students moving over into ag ed. And we have a lot of great plans. The FFA chapter is up and running now, and they're in full swing. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Acosta. I would now like to welcome Ms. Holmes from Vineland High School to the podium for an update.
Okay, good afternoon. I'm Kamara Holmes, the senior class president. The senior officers and I have fun and educational year ahead of us. We've kick-started the year with our amazing annual senior sunrise. Vineland High School is a school filled with traditions, so being able to start our own felt like a big accomplishment. Being a VHS student brings a big part into my holds a big part in my heart. I try to carry that pride through my everyday life in and out of school. During school, I'm involved with many activities such as the football manager for the varsity football team. I'm a varsity swimmer, and I'm active on the boys and girls team of crew. I love being active through the school to get many perspectives of the student population. Being involved with so much is not for the weak, but I feel like me and my peers try our best to be involved with some type of extracurricular activity throughout our school year. With our many clubs and sports, it's easy to put yourself out there and meet many new people. Our school is so big enough that we have the same patterns of walking to class, so you miss the opportunities of meeting new people. So Vineland High School having many different clubs and sports is a great way for not only my class, but the student population to meet new friends throughout the school as well. Furthermore, the senior class has many fun activities on our agenda, such as a volleyball tournament with 4 different class levels, fundraising opportunities for a senior trip, as well as our class expenses such as prom and graduation. Our pep rallies, dancing with the staff, and Mr. Violent are just to name a few. Although being a Violent student comes with many positives, it does come with our negatives as well, as any high school would. Being the voice of my class comes with knowing the good and bad things. VHS should focus on more of our mental health. Coming into our first normal year of COVID-19, the students and I feel like we've pushed past the subject. Adding on to our school scare and lockdown experienced recently, we wanted our safety to be important to everyone at VHS. A suggestion is including more security guards to improve safety. Although I personally was not in school that Friday, hearing and seeing and getting the phone calls of what was happening in school scared and broke a lot of students' trust and safety of the atmosphere of school. We as a school had no comfort from the trauma that was caused. Seeing everything happen from an outsider perspective, students making TikToks of the subject, really confused me and angered me in a way that if it was a real situation that many students around the United States have experienced firsthand, our students taking it as a joke was very hard. On the other hand, the students were also afraid to return to school and waited to see what the school would say about the situation. We as a school have moved past it, and some students are still confused and hurt that they experienced such a traumatic experience. That took a toll on the students' population, mental health within VHS and the United States after COVID has been a decline in the health as many students throughout. I feel like we should bring more outside help to provide for my peers and I. Although we have many people there for us in school since we're a heavily populated school. But I feel like them reaching out to us and having more time in our schedule to speak to them would be a positive outlook on our situations throughout the school. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Holmes. Moving on to public comment on agenda items. Please limit yourself to 3 minutes, and we do have a timer up here, and I really hate to cut anybody off, so please try to watch your time.
President Holmes, thank you. That's you, President Holmes? We're talking about you? Yes, thank you. No. Thank you so much. I heard two major topics that the board, I know, heard with me, security and mental health. So I know they will be asking us as a board and as a committee to see what we can do. So thank you for your presentation. We look forward to seeing you next month as now we have this connection with you and your team, your cabinet. They'll be coming every month and providing us with a statement and talking about the wonderful things at VHS and also the areas that we need to work on together. So thank you again for your insight and your speech this evening. Thank you.
Laura Russelman, update on the band.
Good evening. My name is Laura Russman, and I last stood before you at the August 25th board meeting regarding the VHS marching band, and I just wanted to update you on what has happened since that time. Since that time, the band has played at the school football games, the girls' senior soccer night, the Pennsville September Parade, the Wildwood Firemen's Parade, where they took first place among other marching bands, the Homecoming Parade, and the band has participated in the Clearview, Millville, Clayton, Abington, Pennsylvania band competitions, and will participate in its last competition of the season this Saturday, November 5th at Washington Township High School. It is important to note that at every competition, their score has increased, and this is a testament to the dedication these kids put into their band. Every week, they add another element to their show, and they tell a story, and the story gets better week after week. That said, having the opportunity to attend several competitions and witness what other bands are doing has made it clear that we are lacking funding. It is difficult to compete without money for props, uniforms, and instruments. We do compete against other schools that are from more affluent towns, and I realize that they have more access to funds. However, in order to be competitive, we must find a way to fund the arts. I am not familiar with the process of how monies are allocated to the arts, and specifically to the marching band. But I do implore you to revisit this during budget time. Thank you for your time, and have a good evening.
Annalise Castellini.
Good evening. My name is Annalise Castellini. I just wanted to come introduce myself. I'm the new agriculture teacher at Vineland High School, which I'm glad to hear you're all talking about. I just want to take a few minutes, introduce myself, and tell you about what we have going on in the agriculture program. The agriculture program is off to a great start with 3 courses being offered. They are Intro to Agriculture, Plant Science, and Food Science and Safety. We have a total of 67 students enrolled currently. And that number did double. It was a very stressful September, but I'm glad the number went up. We are also starting an FFA chapter. FFA is a youth organization based around agriculture education. FFA promotes premier leadership, personal growth, and career success. Through leadership conferences and competitions, students gain all these skills. Board members, you are all invited to our official chartering ceremony on November 22nd at the high school. This is where the New Jersey State FFA Association will present us with our official chapter charter from the National FFA organization. So I know myself and the FFA members are looking forward to having you there, and I hope you are all able to make it. Thank you.
Rebecca Fry.
Good afternoon, my name is Rebecca Fry. The concern I have today is cars flying by stop signs while the buses are parked, flashing red lights are on, the stop sign's out, and the cars are flying by. And most of every day you hear it on the radio. For our safety, for the children, the thing that I can come up with, and I'm not sure if it's a good idea, is to have like a camera that is, when the stop sign is out, to take a snapshot of the car that's going by. Because sometimes the drivers don't have time enough to call it in or write it down of the tag number. I know that they do it for the toll booths. If the car goes by and doesn't pay, they take a picture of the car and send the ticket to them. If that can happen with the school, I know they have cameras front and back of the buses, but they don't capture the cars going past. I know there's been a couple incidents in the past, and I just want to try to prevent that from happening and a child getting hurt, because we are responsible for these kids till they get home. Thank you.
Anthony Rodriguez, Walk Zone.
Good evening, Board. Anthony Rodriguez. I was in front of you a month ago in regards to the walk zone policy. It is very disheartening. That evening, everyone addressed, thank you for addressing the board. We will reach out. We encourage participation, and to this day, not one board member has reached out to me. I have contacted the BA's office, never got a response back. It's a serious concern, and I don't think we're addressing it. We have a mindset that we see children play in the street every day. They ride their bike. So we're not considering the factors. The board is mandating that our children walk to school. I don't think anyone on the board here would allow their child to walk 47 minutes to school in the rain. You all have the luxury, probably, of taking your child to school, and that's a grand luxury. But there are parents that don't have that luxury, that have to be to work at a certain time of the morning, and they have no flexibility with that employer. And up until this coming week, children have been walking in the dark because daylight does not end until Saturday. So this board is putting children on the street because there are no safe corridors, no sidewalks, and you're putting them on the street to walk 47 minutes in the rain. Luckily, it's been warm out lately, but that's going to change, and it's going to be cold. And it's going to be wet when it's raining, and they're still expected to be at school because that's not an excuse. And then when they get to school, it's expected that they learn. I want everybody to be wet and then try and attend a board meeting and pay attention to what anyone's saying. or be cold. Be cold and wet and listen to what we're saying or what anyone else is saying. I heard the committee report for the transportation, and there was nothing in there about the walk zone. I addressed it. It should have at least been brought up in a committee topic. We had a resident come to the meeting and address the walk zone. A district this size should not have a walk zone. And not only that, we're providing transportation for after-school activities for children to select locations. But we can't bring them to school, but after-school activities, we can bring them home to a designated location. If this doesn't sound broken, I don't know what does. I mean, we have to do better. My 3 minutes is up. Thank you.
That's all the slips I have.
Thank you. Motions and resolutions. Superintendent recommendations for discussion and approval by the board. Number 1, consent agenda.
Requesting discussion on personnel items 1.1 through 1.4. 1.1, approval of the following: retirements, resignations, B, students, C, substitutes, D and E as noted on our agenda. 1.2, approval of the following: the Executive County Superintendent approval of the employment contract of Mr. Scott Mustarell. 1.3, approval of the following appointments for October 6th through June 30th, 2023. Board Secretary, Contract and Aging, Custodian of School District Records, and PACO. 1.4, resolution approving the memorandum of agreement between the City of Vineland Board of Education and the Vineland Administrators and Supervisors Association, VASA, effective July 1st, 2022 through June 30th, 2026, and authorizing the execution of a final agreement consistent with the same.
Any questions or comments? Seeing none, do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Ms. Acosta?
Yes.
Ms. Fabry?
Yes.
Mr. Holmes?
Yes.
Mr. Fiocchi?
Yes.
Mr. Rivera?
Yes.
Mr. Sabrana?
Yes.
Mr. Silva?
Yes.
Mrs. Codispoti?
Yes.
Ms. Spinelli?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Requesting discussion regarding procedures and operations, items 2.1 through 2.7. 2.1, approval of the following items as noted on our agenda: trips all the way through travel. 2.2, approval of submission of the 2022-2023 New Jersey CUSAC DPR. 2.3, approval authorizing the board secretary to enter into an affiliation agreement with Atlantic Cape Community College. 2.4, approval to adopt the 2023-2024 budget prep calendar. 2.5, approval of resolution approving the dates, times, and place of monthly board meetings. 2.6, approval of a motion confirming completion of the superintendent's goals and evaluation process effective June 30th, 2022. 2.7, approval of the first reading for policy 7424 and policy 3432.
Any questions or comments? Seeing none, do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Ms. Acosta?
Yes.
Ms. Fabry?
Yes.
Mr. Fiocchi?
Yes.
Mr. Holmes?
Yes.
Mr. Rivera?
Yes.
Mr. Sabrana?
Yes.
Mr. Silva?
Yes.
Mrs. Codispoti? Ms. Spinelli?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Requesting discussion regarding finance items 4.1 through 4.7. 4.1, approval of budgetary transfers for general, school-based, ECPA for September 2022. 4.2, approval of the board secretary and treasurer reports for September of 2022. 4.3, approval of the placement of special education students. 4.4, approval to submit the following grant application, NCF grant. 4.5, approval of the appointment of staff of the federal program salaries and funding percentages for the 22-23 school year. Names provided and on file with the board secretary. 4.6, approval of the following changes to bank depositories for the student activity account from November 2nd, 2022 through June 30th, 2023. 4.7, approval of the following non-public aid for the 22-23 school year as noted on our agenda.
Any questions or comments? Seeing none, do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Ms. Acosta?
Yes.
Ms. Fabry?
Yes.
Mr. Fiocchi?
Yes.
Mr. Holmes?
Yes.
Mr. Rivera?
Yes, but I must abstain from NSF grant.
Mr. Sabrana?
Yes.
Mr. Silva?
Yes.
Mrs. Codispoti?
Yes.
Ms. Spinelli?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Request and discussion regarding items 4.8 through 4.15. 4.8 is approval of professional development for SIOP training. 4.9, approval of the following professional development sessions for 22-23, November Staff in Service Day, as noted on our agenda. Approval of the professional development contract for 4.10 for foundational literacy and professional development with Wilson Language Training Corporation. 4.11, approval of the attached statement, which allows the City of Vineland Board of Education to enact purchases under the state and national cooperative. 4.12, approval of the City of Vineland Board of Education decision pursuant to NJSA to reject all proposals received for PW number 2223 Winslow School HVAC system. 4.13, approval of the following change order from Velasca Mechanical, from Marie Durand, HVAC, per the attached dated on our agenda of October 26, 2022. 4.14, approval of the following change order number 3 from Velasca Mechanical for Marie Durand School HVAC, as noted again on our agenda. And then 4.15 is approval of the GovDeals vehicle sales list, which is on file with the board secretary.
Any questions or comments? Seeing none, do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Ms. Acosta?
Yes.
Ms. Fabry?
Yes.
Mr. Fiocchi?
Yes.
Mr. Holmes? Mr. Rivera?
Yes.
Mr. Sabrana?
Yes.
Mr. Silva?
Yes.
Mrs. Codispoti?
Yes.
Ms. Spinelli?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Request and discussion regarding items 4.16 to 4.20. 4.16, approval of the McKinney-Vento tuition contract between the City of Vineland Board of Education as the receiving and Deptford Township as the sending district. 4.17, approval of the McKinney-Vento tuition contract between the City of Vineland as the receiving and Deptford Township as the sending for one student in the amount as noted on our agenda. 4.18, approval of the McKinney-Vento tuition contract between the City of Vineland as the receiving district and the Elizabeth Board of Education of Union as the sending district for one student as noted on our agenda. 4.19, approval of the McKinney-Vento tuition contract between the City of Vineland Board of Education, receiving Elizabeth Board of Education for one student in the amount of as noted on our agenda. And finally, 4.20, approval of the McKinney-Vento tuition contract between the City of Vineland as the sending district and Pine Hill Board of Education of Camden as the receiving district for one student, as noted on our agenda.
Any questions or comments? Seeing none, do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call?
Ms. Acosta?
Yes.
Ms. Fabry?
Yes.
Mr. Fiocchi?
Yes.
Mr. Holmes?
Yes.
Mr. Rivera?
Yes.
Mr. Sabrana?
Yes.
Mr. Silva?
Yes.
Mrs. Codispoti?
Yes.
Ms. Spinelli?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you, Mr. Yano. Moving on, regular agenda items, none. Proposed items for review or discussion or adoption by the board members, none. Approval of bills occurred during September 2022. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, do I have a motion?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Ms. Acosta?
Yes.
Ms. Fabry?
Yes.
Mr. Fiocchi?
Yes.
Mr. Holmes?
Yes.
Mr. Rivera?
Yes.
Mr. Sabrana?
Yes.
Mr. Silva?
Yes.
Mrs. Codispoti?
Yes.
Ms. Spinelli?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Emergent items with prior approval, none. Any old business? No. Any new business this evening?
Yeah, one thing.
Oh, we have two things.
This is
Go ahead.
unprecedented.
First time in a long time. Mr. Rivera first.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. I'd like to mention, so it was brought to my attention new program that the federal government is putting out for high school seniors and individuals in high school. It's estimated that in the next 10 years, there's going to be a shortage of drivers. 1.2 million drivers are going to be needed. And I'm speaking of drivers for trucking, long-haul trucking across interstate lines. Normally, you have to be 21 to cross interstate lines in a big rig. But the federal government launched a pilot program last year in 2021. It's called the Safe Driver Apprenticeship Pilot Program. And it's partnering up with trucking companies and schools, high schools in particular, to train 17, 18-year-olds while they're in high school to begin a career in trucking. We know that many students do not want to go to college. They do not want to join the military. They do not want to do a trade school. Why not have another opportunity, another option they can do? And long-haul trucking, we know, pays well. Somebody can earn $100,000 easy a year doing long-haul trucking. So there's a pilot program going on, and I think it would be great if we can at least look into it and see the details and the requirements that we need to do in order to perhaps get this started, obviously not this school year, but the next 23-24 school year. So that would be a great thing for us to look into.
Thank you for sharing that with us, Mr. Rivera. Mr. Holmes.
Yeah, to discuss Mr. Rivera, who got up to the podium tonight. Previously, we talked about hardship forms for transportation. Parents could go on the website, put in their hardship, give their reasoning for why they feel they need a bus, their child needs a bus. Where do we stand on that, and how can we fast track that process so we can get these kids buses?
We'll look into it. I'll get in touch with you tomorrow.
And someone will reach out to Mr. Rodriguez?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, so for curriculum, we will add the looking into the CDL, driver school, and through transportation. And then we'll also bring up again in our transportation meeting the walk zone. Thank you for that. Okay, moving on to board member remarks, starting with Mr. Rivera.
Thank you. I'd like to thank Myra Arroyo for giving me that information regarding the driving program, by the way. I'd like to thank the PILA students and the JROTC Air Force students that came and led us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I'd like to thank our class officers for showing up here. It's always good to see the students involved, and we appreciate it. This won't be the last time we see you guys. That wasn't like a suggestion. We won't. I'd like to thank the Bilingual Advisory Committee for inviting a few of us to the meeting, and we were able to speak to the parents there. It's a great thing they're doing. It's a great program. It's a great opportunity for these parents to speak to the officials of the district so they can get their voices heard. Thank you for all the members of the public that spoke. We always appreciate your comments, your concerns. They do not fall on deaf ears. I'd like to thank Mrs. DeMarchi, Mrs. Rivera, and Mrs. Alvarado, along with the security staff, teachers, students, that the lockdown that happened, I witnessed firsthand the job that they did. They did an amazing job. Hats off to the students. They were calm. The ones who were freaking out were the parents, to be honest with you. Students were calm. I was in the library for about 20, 30 minutes with a group of students. Quiet. They weren't freaking out. They weren't yelling. They were doing what they were supposed to do. Hats off to your leadership. Hats off to all of you guys over there at the high school. You guys stepped up. You guys did the job. And I am glad that we have them at the high school. Thank you. Congrats to our band. Our band has had an amazing season. They're kicking butt, for lack of a better word. They are. And we've always had good bands. And I'm glad that you brought that to our attention. And we can talk about how we can fund the arts specifically, and also the band. That would be amazing to do. All our sports teams, congratulations on the great seasons you guys are having. despite some shenanigans from officials. But, but other than that, you guys having a great season. Also, November 8th, next Tuesday, we have Election Day. Vote, vote, vote. Not 3 times, just once, but vote. It's important. We have several of our board members that are up for re-election. We have a new individual that's running for election. I commend all of them for running. It's not easy. It's not an easy thing to do, and it's something that you put yourself out there, and anyone that has the guts to do it, my hat's off to you. And finally, since we won't see each other until December, happy Thanksgiving to everyone. Enjoy it with your families. Enjoy it together. That we don't have to be separated with masks and all that stuff this year. So enjoy it, enjoy it, enjoy it. Thank you. Have a good evening.
Thank you. Mr. Sabrana.
Thank you. Thanks to the Air Force JROTC Color Guard and the PULA students for that great flag salute. Congratulations to our students who are here tonight. I hope you've learned a lot and looking forward to seeing you every month and hearing your reports about what's going on. And congratulations to all of our students who are turning in such awesome performances in athletics, music, and other activities. Their success is a source of great pride to all of us here. I'm very disappointed to hear that, you know, there's such a struggle for the band, and I want us to look at every possible way to provide some extra funding for them because they absolutely deserve it. On homecoming day, I was just thrilled to see them and hear them at that performance. Thanks to our employees who are veterans, and we appreciate your service. And also, in regard to the speakers, I just want to say again, we're frustrated because we're not supposed to be involved in a debate or a back and forth or even to ask questions. That's a very frustrating thing. It always has been for me as a board member. It has to be that way or we'll be here 5 hours and going back and forth when it should be the purview of the people that are involved and the people at administration who are in a position to solve these problems. So I hope that we can move in that direction. Finally, it's been a great privilege and an honor for me to serve up here for the past 7 years. The last 3 with the pandemic have been especially challenging because every situation was something brand new, or we said, well, what are we going to do about this, and what are we going to do about that, and nobody really knew. Nobody imagined anything that horrible, and to find our way through that took a great deal of skill, innovation, pure guesswork, and a lot of real hard and difficult decision making. So regardless of the outcome of Tuesday's election, I will be forever grateful and proud for this opportunity to serve our students, their families, our hardworking employees, and also the taxpayers of this town. I'm humbled by the support that has been afforded to me by so many people over the years and in the community where I've lived my entire life and loved deeply. I want to thank every one of them. And happy Thanksgiving.
Mr. Silva.
Yes, thank you. I'd like to congratulate the PULA students. Thank you for the flag salute. Our junior ROTCs, our class officers, thank you for getting involved and representing your classes. All the presentations tonight, thank you for giving us an insight on what's going on in our district. I'd like to congratulate our band also for doing an excellent job and continuing doing an excellent job. To all our veterans, thank you for your service. And November 8th, let your voice be heard. Go out and vote, and make sure you vote. And happy Thanksgiving to you all, and enjoy your Thanksgiving with your family this year, that you guys can actually sit together and enjoy a meal. Thank you.
Mr. Fiocchi.
Nothing at this time.
Mr. Holmes.
Yes, thank you to all that have joined us tonight, especially the class officers and the president, Ms. Holmes. You represent our last name well, even though we're not related. NJSBA, the workshops were great. They were relevant. They were innovative. I was glad to see most of central administration there, too. the committee, transportation, whatever committee we serve on, just because it might not be on the agenda or you don't hear about it, doesn't mean we're not discussing it. So your concerns are being addressed, and we're going to try to streamline these processes, especially with our students walking to school. All right, happy Thanksgiving. Great to see you all. Thanks.
Ms. Acosta.
Yes, I'm just going to echo what my fellow board members have already mentioned, but a special thanks to Mr. Fry, Mr. Rodolfo, Ms. Rodolfo, with respect to their presentations tonight in explaining. I know that I had questions regarding the CUSAC, and certainly when you look at a bunch of numbers in terms of student assessments, it's difficult for a layperson to really understand it. So I think it's helpful, and I'm glad to hear from Mr. Yano that we'll be revisiting once we get more updated information. I'd like to thank, well, of course, all the students that participated in the flag salute, our ROTC from the high school, and of course our class officials here from Vineland High School. And I just want to know, Ms. Holmes, thank you so much for not only letting us know what's going on, but more importantly also addressing those issues that you see as a concern. And I know as a parent with a child in high school, you know, the issue that you spoke about, you know, with regards to the trauma that kids feel, obviously kids are different. Some kids, you know, may not take it as seriously, but there are probably many, many children or young adults who were traumatized by this. So, you know, I'm glad that you bring up this topic because I think it's important, and I think we can work on a strategy to try to address not only the ongoing issues, but hopefully issues that come up in the future. Thank you, Mrs. DeMarchi, Mrs. Rivera, for always being there for our students. I'm very grateful and humbled by all the hard work that you all do. And last but not least, I am so pleased to hear that our band is doing so well, and I would really also like to see, now that the budget process is going to be starting, a little bit of extra money maybe set aside. You know, we really need to support our arts. I'd like to congratulate Scott Mustarell on his position as our school board administrator. I am very happy and pleased. He is a wonderful professional, and I believe I speak for my fellow board members. We're very happy to have you. So congratulations. Finally, just I want to wish all of you, students, parents, faculty, staff, administrators, everyone, a very happy Thanksgiving, and we will see you in December, if not sooner. Thank you.
Ms. Fabry.
Good evening. I also want to thank our VHS class officers. Ms. Holmes, you're very well spoken. You should be very proud of yourself. I think I agree with you, and I mean, we can give us the greatest education in the world, but if our students aren't safe and don't feel safe, it means nothing. It wasn't until I was older, I'm not that old, but that I would even speak about mental health awareness, and the fact that you are even using that term and talking about it speaks volumes about even our education, how that we're talking about it and that we're recognizing what those feelings are, and I think that's even building the foundation for your student body, so you should all be really proud of yourselves. And happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you. Ms. Cataspati.
I'd like to thank our students from PILA and our color guard from the junior ROTC for coming tonight. I'd like to thank our speakers. There are a lot of times, like my fellow board members have spoken, we cannot address you publicly like that. However, we do listen. We are hearing what you have to say. Congratulations to the band, and I concur with Ms. Inez Acosta that we really need to start to try to do something for you guys. You are a part of our system, and you deserve to be funded. I will be at that agricultural on this 22nd. Ms. Holmes, I am so excited for all of you. I was so happy to hear about everything that you were saying. As you were speaking, I was writing down mental health and safety before Mr. Yano said it. So we all got, I think, what you were talking about. I look forward to seeing what you guys are all doing and going to accomplish, but we also want to hear your concerns, so I really appreciate that. Ms. DeMarchi, Ms. Rivera, what can I say? You have a great group of people here. Thank you for keeping everyone cool and level-headed during the lockout, or lockdown, I should say. To our veterans, I'm the wife of a veteran, so I just would like to say thank you to your families and yourself for your selfless and acts and sacrifices that have kept our country the way it is. I had the opportunity to do a ride-along with one of our bus drivers last week. I have to say it really opened my eyes on several levels, from the bus driver, aides, and the parents' point of view. And I've already talked to Mr. Yano, and I'm going to sit down with him and give him my ideas or what I observed as I was riding. I'd like to thank Mr. Thomas for extending the invitation to do a ride-along. He was very informative, and I learned a lot. As a board member, I would encourage each of us to get out into the schools, to go do a ride-along. They're very accommodating. I've sat on the board for 6 years. I love representing our students and our district and our stakeholders. I'm trying to be here for everybody, and I look forward to serving another 3 years. I wish all the candidates well, and please get out there and vote. Again, since we won't be here until December, happy Thanksgiving. Everyone have a blessed night.
Thank you. Mr. Yano.
Okay. I may repeat some items, but they are worth repeating because they are so exciting. Just to begin with, I see Vasa is out here this evening. Congratulations, Vasa, on your new contract. We look forward to continuing our work together with you, and it's exciting times as we collaborate into the future. Recently, we had a bilingual advisory committee meeting at Sabatera School. We had an amazing turnout at both events. The first meeting focused on the purpose of the committee and how families can participate. The second meeting focused on the role of the Board of Education, and parents had the opportunity to hear from several board members. Mr. Holmes, Ms. Fabry, Mr. Fiocchi, Mr. Rivera, all were in attendance. They all did amazing, speaking directly to our parents. It was a really nice night to be there together. We got to learn some new Spanish words and got to share some meals with our families and got to see some cute little kids running around and participating as well. So thank you, Dr. Negrin, for really putting the logistics together, and the Sabatera team for launching that event. It was super exciting. Hope to do that more often with everyone. The district celebrated the Week of Respect across all grade levels during the first week of October, building on and supporting positive school climates for the entire school community. VHS seniors held their first ever senior sunrise. The pictures were amazing. The seniors gathered at VHS and they enjoyed some music, some breakfast, and each other's company as they watched the sun rise, symbolizing the start of their senior year. Thank you, Principal DeMarchi, for organizing that with Ms. Rivera. The district also announced the new Portrait of a Graduate program, which is a collective vision that will help articulate our community's aspirations for all of our students. The portrait process will begin framing a new vision for our school system, and which will then be implemented through the strategic planning process, which will start right after that. The first meeting is scheduled on November 21st. We are looking for as many board members who can legally participate in that process. I'm hoping we can get a few to participate. We have, I believe, over 50 community members who have already signed up and committed to the 4 sessions beginning on November 21st, and we have our students. They will be participating in the process as well during the school day. So we are working with Patel for Kids. It's going to be an exciting and innovative process that we have not seen here yet, and I just can't wait to get that going. Great news on the arts front. The VHS Marching Clan took first place, as we heard before, and the VHS Select Choir had the opportunity to perform at the NJPSA conference and wow the audience with their skills. We take arts and athletics very seriously. Mr. Mustarell and I and Mr. David Hart have already started conversations around budgeting for athletics and the arts and analyzing how we currently expend our funds. We also had a fantastic time at homecoming. We really had a wonderful time walking down Landis, telling jokes, running around, chasing the bus and singing, and we heard some new cheers from our team, who used to be cheerleaders, Ms. Godlewski and team, What a wonderful time. We got to see our agricultural group out there, and a real rooster that joined us on the trip, so great times, and awesome kids, wonderful music, love it. I think I didn't embarrass myself running around. Ms. Rivera was cracking up because this is my first, homecoming parade, and it was super exciting. And we had a great football game as well. The VHS cross-country team won the Cumberland County Championship, and junior Nicoletta Giuliani captured her first county title. Congratulations. And then on October 25th, we had an amazing event, Family Fun Night, with the Vineland Police Department, where we had a huge turnout for our trunk or treat event. We always measure this event in number of hot dogs distributed, and we handed out over 1,500 hot dogs. Thank you, Sodexo, for working the hot dog stand and making sure that we could deliver tasty treats to all of our wonderful kids. Last week, 75 students were inducted into the National Junior Honor Society. The ceremony was held here. Our administrative team was here in support of our middle school leaders. Thank you and congratulations to our 8th graders. We know that they're going to have an amazing year. I also wanted to note that many of our functions and operations in the school district are mandated and dictated by the board policies and regulations that we've enacted. So when we talk about transportation, we are referring directly to regulation and policy 8600. So we do look at those policies at different committees, but we are expected to follow what we have put together as far as our game plan. When we deviate from that is when we need to look at maybe adopting and changing policies and regulations. That will happen through policy and personnel, which we'll look at if we want to make some changes. But right now, transportation team is expected to follow 8600, which dictates the mileage zones, walk zones, and the process to actually appeal a decision if you need additional support to get a child to school. And the team, with Mr. Mustarell's support, has been very accommodating and working directly with families on a constant basis, every day, actually. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for coming out this evening. My fellow board members covered the same words that I would say. Have a great Thanksgiving. At this time, do I have a motion to adjourn the meeting? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?